What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Save for More. I am Luke Goodish as always, and today I have another
Hemingway
video for you. Today we're going to do another quote breakdown. We're going to look at like a passage from a letter Hemingway wrote to F. Scott Fitzgerald, the author of Great Gatsby. What he says in this letter to his friend is life-changing advice. It's advice that I'm constantly trying to hold to, trying to act like Hemingway wrote me that letter. And it's advice that I think that you should hold tight to and you should try to implement in your life. So let me provide you guys with a little bit of context. As we know, F. Scott Fitzgerald was a writer, wrote Great Gatsby. Hemingway also a writer. They were friends back in the 20s, and Hemingway wrote him this letter encouraging him to write because F. Scott Fitzgerald was a very strange character, a very neurotic character. I'll let Hemingway tell you in his own words how he saw F. Scott Fitzgerald. This comes from Movable Feast. His talent was as natural as the pattern that was made by the dust on a butterfly's wings. At one time he understood it no more than the butterfly did, and he did not know when it was brushed or marred. Later he became conscious of his damaged wings and of their construction, and he learned to think and could not fly any more because the love of flight was gone, and he could only remember when it had been effortless. First off, Hemingway, you're a beast of a writer. That was beautiful. But this, paired with the letter, paints a picture, at least in my head, that F. Scott Fitzgerald at one time did not have the marring of the world telling him who and what to be. He wrote freely. He was himself. He authentically produced a masterpiece in The Great Gatsby. But once the world started putting that on him, and he felt expectation, and he felt crunched by living up to something, he stopped. And he became overly conscious and overly worried of what everyone would think. From there, let's just jump right into the letter. For Christ's sake, write, and don't worry about what the boys say, nor whether it will be a masterpiece, nor what. I write 1 page of masterpiece to 91 pages of shit. I try to put the shit in the wastebasket. You feel you have to publish crap to make money, to live and let live. All right. But if you write enough, and as well as you can, there will be the same amount of masterpiece material. Forget your personal tragedy. We're all bitched from the start, and you especially have to hurt like hell before you can write seriously. But when you get that damned hurt, use it. Don't cheat with it. Be as faithful to it as a scientist. But don't think anything is of importance because it happens to you or anyone belonging to you. For Christ's sakes, write. Forget your personal tragedy. There's so much gold, so much to be extrapolated from this bad boy. Um, so to start my commentary on it, I want to segue in with a quote from another amazing writer, David Foster Wallace. He says, "If your fidelity to perfectionism is too high, you will never do anything." Let's look at perfectionism. Where's that come from? When we trace its psychological roots, it comes from an issue of self-worth, an insecurity thing, right? There's this concept in counseling, COWS, conditions of worth. This is when someone comes to believe that they are loved only if they fit X, Y, and Z. Check this, that, and this box. If they write a masterpiece, if you will. If you have a healthy sense of self-worth, you'll be able to pull off the Hemingway. In A Movable Feast, there's a scene where a guy comes up to him and is sort of critiquing his writing. And Hemingway's response, too bad. Basically tells the guy, oh, you don't like it? Sucks to suck. Hemingway doesn't care what the boys will think. He doesn't care if it'll be a masterpiece. But look, this isn't just a message for writers. Forget writing, throw that out the window. We're talking to you, he's talking to you. Most of you don't want to be writers. Most of you want to be salesmen, teachers, counselors. It's not just for Christ's sakes write. That means for Christ's sake just blank. Do what you're here to do. Do that thing that's burning in your heart, that passion. You have to be willing to go for it. You have to be willing to write 91 pages of shit for that 1 page of masterpiece. That means you have to be willing to fail. You have to do as Rocky Balboa says, be willing to take the hits. You need to fail, stumble uphill. That's where a strong sense of self-worth will come in. You won't see these failures as proof that you're a lousy, no good individual with no value. You'll see yourself as a scientist just trying out different hypotheses, and hey, you're gonna fail sometimes. You're gonna write those 91 pages of dukes. Now, the second part, I love this second part when he says, forget your personal tragedy. Everybody has a tragedy, man. He says it. We're all bitched from the start. Don't be a victim. I did a video all about this, the victim card. Check it out. Rashapakas right there. We all have that thing that could be our victim card, that personal tragedy. But it doesn't have to hold you back. It doesn't have to be the reason you fail. It doesn't have to be the thing you cite every time as why you're not living the life you want to live. It can be the catalyst that pushes you into it. That darkness can be what excels you. Hemingway says it right here. You especially have to hurt like hell before you can write seriously. Again, forget writing. He's saying that you need to hurt like hell before you have something to say. Have you been hurt? Have you faced tragedy? Well, what are you going to do about it? What will you do with it? You have something to say? Say it. For Christ's sakes, write. For Christ's sakes, live your life. For Christ's sakes, make your mark.